All right, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here at the AWS reInvent, and I have my very good friend Sudhir Hasbe, who's the Chief Product Officer at Neo4j. Super excited to be chatting with him. It's a long due, and we all know him. So I'm pretty sure there's no introduction needed here, Sudhir. All the great things that you've done in not only just the data and analytics space, but also in the graph space. We've been seeing that with Neo4j and the product that you've built. Quickly wanting to learn a little about, first of all, what's happening at AWS reInvent. You were at the keynote, you've been listening to all the news. What are you most excited about? How do you kind of even connect the dots with Neo4j? Wanting to learn a little about.
Yeah, no, I think super excited to be at reInvent.
Yeah.
It's always one of the better events, like 60 plus thousand people,
Yeah.
great announcements. I'm a data and analytics guy. I love all the data announcements that came out.
Yeah.
Everything from S3 based table buckets that are coming out where you can run queries directly against them. All the stuff in Bedrock was super exciting that Swami was talking about today.
Right.
Especially things around RAG and like new models, but also RAG and how RAG is becoming more popular. RAG on structured and unstructured data.
Right.
And then the whole discussion on how GraphRAG is becoming so
Right.
critical. And I think it was really well explained why GraphRAG is important with structured data, bringing all the different disparate systems together. I think that was super exciting in Bedrock. Also the new models, Nova models are coming out, that is great. It's amazing, like everything, and then agents in Bedrock is again super exciting with agentic flow and all that. So I think super exciting to see the whole evolution of innovations from data processing to AI and GenAI applications. So that's
And
great.
I know you are very much a person, a data person at heart. You've obviously spent years in it, but also you've kind of changed the game for graph. And in 2024, we've kind of seen such great announcements coming out from Neo4j. Would you like to quickly recap a little bit and give us a understanding of the great announcements that you all have made? I've kind of followed everything very closely. I know everything about GraphRAG, how companies are using it. I've met a lot of users, customers. I won't name anyone, but then I've spoken to so many people who've been like, "Oh, Neo4j is a game changer. Do you know what they kind of built?" And I learn from them every day about GraphRAG, about Graph, but wanting to learn a little from you as well.
Yeah, no, coming into Neo4j, one of my big focus areas was how do we simplify adoption of graph technology across enterprises, right? We know we provide a lot of value, like some of the most powerful use cases, like fraud detection, anti-money laundering in financial services, intelligence analytics in government, all the health sciences, all the innovations with R&D and all, drug discovery and all happen through us. But products, like simplifying adoption was a big deal.
Exactly.
So one thing we did, first thing was built a unified product experience in cloud for our cloud offering. So we basically now in one click or few clicks create the graph database, do the ingestion of any data directly inside our database using a fully integrated experience from relational databases and all. So reducing that time to value, and then I have this saying, I want 5 seconds to sign up and 5 minutes to wow. And wow for me is when your data is available in the database coming from anywhere, right? So that relational database to graph modeling and all that. So simplification of that.
Very
I think that's there. The second thing in the cloud space that we did was we realized giving better price points to customers is always important. So we launched a new SKU that actually is 25% cheaper than our original previous enterprise SKU. So this is way of reducing costs for our customers, for us and all. So I think that's the one big area which is cloud offering simplification. The second thing that we realized is when RAG was, everybody was started talking about RAG and vector RAG, we realized the way to improve accuracy and explainability is through GraphRAG.
Amazing.
And so now everybody, including in keynotes in Amazon, is talking about GraphRAG and GraphRAG as first-class citizen. We realized that even last year, and so we've launched bunch of capability in the product, vector support inside the graph database. We launched a GraphRAG Python package to simplify knowledge graph creation as well as retrievals.
Exactly.
All of that. We've been doing a lot of innovation in that space. And the third area that I think is super important for us is how do you make graph analytics available to more and more users?
Very
and I
true.
think this is where just simplification through GenAI based, like, Copilot. Like, now you can go, you don't need to understand Cypher, learn the language. You can just use natural language to go query the database and all.
Yep.
So simplification on that side has been a big priority for us.
And
So
you're
those are
very right.
big 3-4 things.
Yeah, no, I think you're very right in terms of, talking about the simplification, because that was the challenge a few years back when I used to talk to a lot of users or a lot of data analysts out there. Then they would be like, oh, graph is a little complex to get into. Obviously, it's very powerful. So that complexity was something that was a hard part or a roadblock for a lot of data analysts or or the data even engineers or those who are kind of working in the space. But you all kind of made it so easy, where you talk about 5 minutes, 5 seconds in terms of the click, and making it easier and more approachable, where there's no blocker for you. Now you can get from point A to point B very easily.
Exactly.
Right? And in 2025 as well, I'm excited about that. I know there are amazing plans for 2025 that you all have. But since you obviously built the product, you are at the heart of it. If you can give a little bit of sneak peek into what's coming up, what can folks expect, that would be great.
Yeah, I will. Let's focus on 3 areas. Right.
Right.
Again, I love to talk in threes. Is easier
Which is
to
good,
remember
yeah.
for everybody. Number one, simplification with our cloud offering,
Yep.
making sure you can get started really fast, as I was talking about. So we simplified creation of graphs from relational stores like in 2024.
Yeah.
By Jan, we will have launch of moving data from columnar databases, data warehouses,
Yeah.
lake houses, simplify that.
Exactly.
Very soon after that, in second quarter, we will start launching it, support for all the different kinds of lake house, file formats,
Yep.
iceberg, delta, all of that. And then very soon after that, unstructured data will be supported in the tool. And then from there, APIs. By
Wow.
end of 2025, I want anybody to be able to provide their login for Salesforce or whatever and convert it into a graph without writing any code and start analyzing it. So that's one side of equation, just simplification of graph creation, querying graph and all. So that's one thing we'll do.
Yeah.
The second area is GenAI, and I think we did a lot of work in enabling our database to be ready for GenAI, for GraphRAG, right?
Right.
With Python package and all in 2024. 2025, I want to take it one step further. If you're building a GenAI app, and if you use our tools to build the graph, I want it to be literally few lines of code to build a conversational application. We are building this API that will be available to everybody for conversational stuff based on agentic framework, wherein you can configure it, you can go ahead and add more tools to it, and then
Very
you will
cool.
be able to start using it to just embed that capability directly into your application.
Nothing like
so
it.
Super simple.
Yeah.
And the third one is we want to take graph analytics to where your data is. And so we basically are in private preview to go ahead and take our 60 plus algorithms and run them directly inside Snowflake.
Wow.
So we are in their container service. It's a native app now. So any Snowflake user who can write SQL, with 3 lines of SQL, you can create a graph projection, run 60 plus algorithms, and then take the output and store it in Snowflake
game
and run
changer.
it. It should be a game changer, and that should enable tens of thousands of analysts to start benefiting from what we have built over 10-15 years in graph analytics,
nice.
right?
Very
So for
nice.
example, if you're a marketing analyst, you will be able to take your customer data that's in Snowflake,
Yep.
run a segmentation algorithm that we have, and then create customer segments to do better marketing. Or
Wow.
if you have supply chain data, you can say, hey, how do I go optimize my supply chain path analysis? I want the shortest path. What's the best way of doing that? We can run those algorithms and give it to you. So simplifying graph analytics for Snowflake customers, but if you want to do the same thing for Databricks and BigQuery and Redshift, and Fabric, and we'll also have embedded graph analytics for Microsoft Fabric coming out very
Very
soon.
cool.
So making graph analytics accessible to all my analytics friends is what my next goal is. So those are 3 big things I'm super excited about.
This is fantastic, Sudhir, and thanks for sharing that. Thanks for giving us that sneak peek into what you kind of coming up with and what how interesting it would be for all the analytics folks out
Yes.
there to use it so simply and not only just at different places, but just in the right way, making it simple,
exactly.
right? One more question before, and I know people obviously follow you, they know you, where they can reach out, and I know there's a constant messaging that you have as well for whatever the roadmap looks like. But if they want to follow you, which is the best place? Where can they learn more about what's happening at Neo4j?
I think the best place to follow me is LinkedIn.
All right.
I'm always on LinkedIn. You can message me, you can follow me, ask me questions there, anything. I know you are there all the
Yes.
time, so we both post a lot of stuff. I try to post the product roadmap, feedback I'm getting and all that. And so, yeah, I think the best way is LinkedIn messaging. I'm always available 24/7. I check it like 50 times a day. I'm a super user of LinkedIn anyway, so yeah.
Fantastic. No, this is great, Sudhir, and thanks for sharing all the great insights. I'm super excited to see, where Neo4j will be heading in 2025, and we'll keep the conversation going. We'll keep covering more about GraphRAG, not only just that, all the cool
Absolutely.
announcements that you'll have. Thank you very much for
Perfect.
visiting
Thank
the
you.
Ravit Show. It's
Thank
always
you,
such a
Ravit.
pleasure
Good-
chatting.
Good to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.